What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the Call Center Geek himself, Tom Laird.
Hi, guys. For those of you, there's a couple of you that are joining now. I am available if you have any questions, contact center related, Web3, NFT related, anything in your contact center, call center operations. We did this last week. I thought it went really, really well. So again, if anybody has anything you want, let me know. Just throw it in the comments section. And what's up, David? How you doing, bud? And we'll see if we can get maybe some help and hopefully add a little bit of value to everybody out there. Like you said, I think we had about 6 or 7, maybe 3 or 4 you asked questions last week. Hopefully we can build it. I don't know if you guys have seen, but James Dodkins, who's just a rock star, literally in the CX world, he's going to be joining us as well, coming the first episode in June. And we're going to do kind of just him and I do an AMA on, and we can kind of reach out a little bit farther from call center and contact center questions to more customer experience, loyalty, building community, those types of things with your organization, with your business. I'm excited to learn from him too. Like I've seen his keynotes at Call Center Week and those type of events, and it's just super fun and super informative. So really, really cool, really good guy. Excited for him. So again, that'll be June 3rd. I have that kind of penciled in. So you'll see more on that as we go as well. So, first question David has, how fast do you think smart contracts for contact centers will take off? And I think the answer to that probably is more industry related than it would be contact center related, right? So like me being a BPO servicing other customers, that's where we're going to see, I think, where it's going to impact the contact center, right? So servicing smart contracts and having our reps be able to understand what that smart contract said, there's going to have to be some things built, right, for that. So, whether you're dealing with, industries like internet companies, right? Or I keep going back to, like your telecom and your iPhone and calling Apple, right? So subscription-based things, that's really going to have the impact, I think, more on the servicing side of what we're going to need to have our reps be able to understand, right? Because I truthfully believe in the next 5 years, right? Airline tickets, sports tickets, all those type of either subscription or access to something, smart contracts are going to be built with that into the NFT. And if somebody has a question, that's something that our customer service reps as an industry are going to have to be able to start to learn. So I think the contact center and the associates and people that are running contact centers are going to be at the forefront of this. And they're not going to be the ones actually, I guess, doing the NFT, right? But they're going to be servicing it and are going to become experts in it probably much quicker than really everybody else is. So again, I think in the next really 3 to 5 years, right, we're going to really start to see how customer service centers really are going to need to be experts really in NFTs. And, if you're an airline right now or, some type of conference, you're starting to think that through right now, airlines especially. What if Delta, comes out with their NFT and says, hey, listen, for the next month, we have a famous artist from Ukraine that every airline ticket that you buy and every NFT that you have, right, which is basically the ticket, you're going to get this artist, this one-to-one special piece of art. And, 10% of every ticket sale, an NFT sale, is going to go to the Ukraine relief. And then every time that piece of art, which was a ticket, gets sold, United, whoever's going to get a little bit of a kickback, the Ukraine relief is going to get a little bit of money as well. And that can kind of go in perpetuity. So it makes total sense why companies are going to start to do NFTs, because it's not now just having a customer for one event, but it's going to just be a reoccurring piece of income that's going to continue to happen. So hopefully that answers it. I know that's probably the roundabout way, but that's kind of how I see the impact of what these are. And Dustin, I think you did send me, if you sent me your address already, then that already went out. I'm not sure if you did or not. If you have not sent it to me, then make sure you just DM me your address. I think you did it last week. So if you did that, then it's already went out. Hopefully you'll get it, sometime early next week. But yeah, thanks for, and again, if anybody's listening, if you want a free copy, just shoot me your address. I'm more than happy to. It's like 230 pages of anything that I could think of to help people with their contact center. All right. Question here. What's the biggest ROI on speech text analytics? How do you measure compassion? Awesome question, right? So what I would tell you is, like big data, right? We start to get insights into customers that we never had before, right? So speech analytics is now, not just having, like I said, like a rep or an associate with a button a seat, right? But now we're actually collecting data. And guys, if you followed the podcast, you've heard me say this a million times. So I didn't say we're called Expivia Call Center. We're Expivia Interaction Marketing, because I kind of saw that these tools were going to be out there, right? So like for us who use speech analytics for all of our clients, we can tell our clients specific things like, hey, that the new sale that you had last week, this new product that you just launched, 30% of the customers who called us in about it use the phrase too expensive. So you may want to pivot, right? You may need to look at price points. But we can now, using our customers, and instead of trying to do a survey for them, anything that they say, we're collecting that data, and then we're using that data in those keywords. So the ROI on that, I think, is crazy good. If you're using it from a marketing standpoint to get customer insights, things that you could have never even thought before. The stuff that you want to learn about, you can, but the coolest stuff is the stuff you don't even know you don't know. And that's the stuff with a good analytic platform. And you're right, it's text now, right? I think, in Contact now they don't call it speech analytics, they call it interaction analytics, right? Because they can do it on voice, they can do it on email, they can do it on chat. So getting all these insights into customer journey, I'm glad I said that. That's the other thing, right? So many times you hear bad call center, right? When someone has a bad experience or a poor experience, right? Our CSAT numbers are down, our NPS numbers are down. It's got to be the call center. Well, maybe it could be. But the other thing that's really cool about analytics is that you see the whole customer journey. So we can see that, maybe 40% of the people were actually complaining about the website, right? They were complaining about the shipping delays, right? So it's not the call center issue. And before we would just be like, hey, what's the call center hearing? What are you guys hearing, right? And we would give some kind of like anecdotal things that a couple reps heard. Well, now we can actually say and say, it's been 132 customers that said this in the last hour. We can give those kind of stats, which I think, again, what's the problem? Getting to the heart of it from a marketing standpoint. How can we fix that? How can we tweak our marketing, tweak our budgeting, tweak our pricing? All right. Number two, your question is, how do you measure compassion? And with compassion, I call sentiment, right? And sentiment is basically taking the word usage, right? And then in some platforms, actually tone and rating it, right? Positive, negative, neutral, mixed. So again, we're paying our reps off of sentiment scores, right? So we can actually show our customers, and really good speech analytics platforms, you can actually show your customers that you're being quote unquote nice to their customers, right? Which is something that we've never been able to do as an industry. We could say, here's our CSAT scores, here's our NPS, and here's our QA scores. But now there's like a machine actually listening to every single interaction to be able to say, hey, this rep's a little bit rough with their tone, their word usage. This rep is really customer servicey. And sometimes maybe you don't want the real customer service. Maybe you want more sales. and you can kind of measure along that spectrum with that. So again, I love analytics. It's getting better and better and better every year. More things are being added to it. So I think it's really cool. And then Dustin has a question for us. So again, I mean, I don't want to get specific into, I'm not vouching for any product because there's a lot of really good products out there, right? We are using Nice in Context. I'm on their full suite, right? So we're using Nice in Context, interaction analytics for our speech analytics. But there's Observe AI, right? There's a ton of different really, really good organizations, and I'm not here to vouch for any of them. Unless they want to pay me, then we'll talk. But I've demoed most of them, and a lot of them they do a really, really good job, right? I would say that I'm more pro speech analytics right now than I am right now pro AI and kind of all the AI things that are going out there. AI is kind of built, I guess, a little bit into this analytics, but really excited about organizations that say, hey, we want to make that step to really not only learn about our customers, but be able to either show or pay our reps, right, on being nice. I think once the full industry really grasps that, we see CX and customer experience take a hopefully a really big shift forward. I did a post the other day on LinkedIn, and I get all the feeds from all these quote unquote industry experts and people in the technology of what's coming and what call centers are using, and most of the call centers and most of the technology that these people say we're using. And I'm kind of an SMB, right? I'm not huge. I'm 500-600 seats. That's a nothing in the into the giant BPO world or the Citibanks or the Bank of Americas, right? And right, that AI technology, that is being used by the early adopters, but we're still in a spot where most people are not using speech analytics, right? They're not using these really cool tools that are pretty inexpensive now that can make massive changes to your operation and to how you handle your customers and the experience that your customers will have, right? Because you can measure not only your reps, but you can measure your customers, right? Which again, I think is almost a better insight into NPS and CSAT, is saying, 50% of our customers have positive sentiment on January 1st. Let's see if, based on what they said and these changes that we're making, on the website and on our delivery method and things we're saying in the contact center, to try to get that to 60 to 65% in the next 6 months, right? And if you can raise your customer sentiment scores, that's just a happier customer. So yeah, that's my soapbox on analytics. You guys know I'm a huge fan. I love it. And I'm excited when organizations, ask me questions about it or want some insights into how to make their organization better through that tool. Yeah, good stuff, guys. I mean, literally, I could probably go on and on about the benefits of analytics for us. Again, I think the coolest part of this is the aspect of us being able to pay, right, and to pay associates off of that. And yeah, I think that's one of the really cool things about the tool. I mean, do any of you guys are the people who are listening right now, are you using, okay, there you go. Yeah, so really cool. No, this is a great question. There's so many tools out there that you need, like a data analyst, right? Nexidia is one of them. Unbelievable tool. Like if you have programmers and the insights you can get from it if you know how to use it. But there's some really, and again, I'm not. If you want to DM me, I'll give you some names. I don't want to, act like I'm acting on behalf of any of these organizations, but for CX1, for interaction analytics, my supervisors use it, right? They're the ones that are actually setting it up. Our QA can actually do it. Very rarely will we have a programmer actually do it. So again, it's finding the right tool for your organization. If you're 10,000 seats plus, yeah, Nexidia is great, right? You need the hardcore one. But if you're looking at, again, we're 500 seats, I don't need to get that crazy. And the insights that I'm getting for this tool is amazing. Really good question. So there's so many on the range, right, of tools that you can get. But that's one of the things that I think why it's important to get like a contact center broker, not saying me, but anybody, when you are making these type of purchases, because you can make something that looks unbelievable on a demo, but it's just, you can't use it as an organization because you don't have maybe the talent, the skills, or the time, or maybe just getting so much information you don't know how to parse it, like you're saying, data paralysis, right? So I think that's part of the really good reasons to kind of look through really what you're getting. But there's some tools out there that are super easy that you don't need programmers for. They're there. All right, Stephanie has a question. Are your agents back in the office, or they still work from home? Oh man, so yeah, we're still work from home. I personally don't like it. Agents, supervisors seem to like it. Now, we have brought most of our management team, meaning actual on-floor supervisors. We've changed the look of our office, and maybe I'll do a quick video next week. So we had a small, like 50-seat, kind of off the main center that we used sometimes for QA or training. And we basically gutted that, took all the call center, contact center booths out, put desks in there and TVs, and it's kind of like our war room, our mission control room for our reps. So I think we're changing kind of how we do business and making it really cool for our management team, which is obviously much less than our actual agents, to be there. But I will tell you, we are really trying to get anything that is HIPAA compliant, PCI compliant, retail where we're dealing with credit cards, anything that from a security aspect, I'm going to try to bring back. And I say try because we're still working through that, like I think a lot of organizations are, and then do it kind of on a merit-based system, right? If you've been here for a really long time, I think I'm okay with you being home. But for the most part, I want anybody that's newer or maybe struggling. And that's the other thing that we've been doing too, Stephanie, is if we do have a rep that is struggling, right, maybe not hitting goals or their KPIs, we will bring them back in here. The other thing that we found is we're not very good at training remotely. And I don't think we're engaging enough. I think it gets boring. So all of our training has been here on site. And then, right now we're just letting them go after probably a 2-week to 3-week, depending on the program, nesting period here in-house, right? So bottom line is right now we're all work from home, trying to bring back some things from a security standpoint that, could be a little bit more vulnerable with being at work from home. It's all worked fine. But just little things from a brick and mortar guy that kind of still feels like we're missing something by not all being in the office. But I get it. It's kind of the new world. I need to adjust, I think, more than the agents need to adjust. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It's not as fun. Like, even I'll tell you this, we do have some reps here, maybe if they have poor internet or they want to be here, right? The option still is you can come into the office. So we have reps that take us up on that. And we have pizza every Friday, and I'm in the pizza room right now. So they're like, yeah. So there's a couple of people have been walking in like, hey, where's the pizza? So again, we're trying to do some, I don't know, I would say fun, but at least Friday, like little lighter things here in the office. But yeah, we'll probably do another podcast episode too on engaging at home. Like, cause I think we've done some unique things that we've tried to learn through. And most of it hasn't come from me. It's come from our management team, the supervisors that are doing some cool things, trying to engage and have some fun at work from home. Cause that's the other part of it. That was a hard cultural thing for us. All right. And then it's cool. David, this is great when you guys want to respond to this too, because there's so much knowledge here. David is saying our people need to be here for 90 days after training, have to meet their KPIs before they're allowed to move. And I think that's where most people are going. I think what you're doing there is great. And that's kind of what we're doing too. Most of it isn't 90 days, but it's program specific, right? So we're a BPO. So we're dealing with, some really easy, right? Quote unquote, easy week trains. And then we're dealing with 6-week trains for some of those. And those guys would be here a little bit longer. So it just kind of depends on the client, but no, that's good. I think what you're doing is probably going to be the new norm. What are the leading indicators of a positive customer experience? Well, this is kind of a loaded question. And I think, the number one thing now is that we can, going back to our analytics thing, we can measure now the entire customer journey, right? So that's what analytics is now doing, right? It is not just taking a snapshot like CSAT and NPS, and maybe NPS you could argue is more of a customer journey, but I would say CSAT is more contact center related. How did your contact center, deal with that issue that an associate had, and was that customer satisfied, right? So I would tell you as a trend, you want to continue to move your positive sentiment. Like, so we have sentiment goals for all of our clients, right? Based on the type of customer. We have some really difficult customer bases that we know when they call us, it's nothing we did, but there's a product issue or there's a constant, something that's always kind of going on and creeping on, that we get more angry customers than certain brands and organizations that, have a customer base that maybe they just want their password reset, or they're calling to get an account balance, those types of things. So we're trying to move sentiment scores from a baseline of a customer and continue to move it more positive. And again, we're looking at the keywords that our customers are talking about: website issues, delivery issues, poor product, bad quality. We're looking at all that, giving this information to clients and trying to move that customer experience. So I think, again, for us, sentiment is almost it's what we live and eat and breathe from a customer standpoint. If a customer wants CSAT scores or NPS, we can do them, but I've pretty much convinced everybody and they see the benefits of that. So, I think that's one of them. The other thing is making sure that you have everything benchmarked, right? So your handle time, what that should be, how much should they be in after call work, right? All these kind of efficiency metrics play into that as well. So if you have your efficiency proper, right, and you have your efficiency where you think it should be for customers, right, and that includes your SLA, right? Is it an 80-30? Is it a 90-10? Whatever that is. And then you take all of the fluffy customer servicey stuff from sentiment scores and kind of put that together and understand what that experience should look like. I think those are really good indicators of really what a new world-class center is, and what you can do to make things better for your customer. So again, I hope that answers it. I mean, I'm always a believer. Everybody always talk about just efficiency KPIs, service level, average handle time, average speed of answer, after call work, hold time, super important stats. But really, they're talking about the efficiency of your contact center. And now we have this tool called analytics that is measuring the sentiment, the tones, the verbiage, the word usage that we can now tie together to make a really, really cool experience. So I hope that answers that question for you. And again, this I think was a question I asked. I know, Dustin, I think you said you're using or have used Nexidia, and can have a plus or minus experience with that. Are any of you guys using any tools, any speech analytics tools right now? What are you finding are some of the issues that you're having with that, or has it been a positive experience for you, or is it something like, hey, we really want it, we don't have it or can't afford it yet? Yeah, so most everybody is kind of saying that they don't have it, or if they do have it, it's been a difficult kind of road to hoe with it. Kind of interesting. Getting some private DMs here too, guys. So if you want to make some things anonymous, you can just kind of shoot me some things. So there's some people that are doing that as well. If they don't show up in chat. But no, good stuff. Good analytic conversation here today. Excited as well. Going to not to get off the contact center, but going to go to VCon next week, which is kind of looks like to be the NFT kind of conference mecca. And I'm going to be live streaming and live blogging and tweeting out and shooting out as much content as I possibly can and trying to make that directly correlate, if I can, to customer experience, customer service. So David, maybe I'll have some even better answers for you there too. Based on kind of what I hear there and in some of the sessions that I go to and some of the people I talk to. Going to do a couple blog or podcast episodes with some people I meet out there too. So have a couple of feelers out for some guests that I know you have heard before, or people you have heard of before. So kind of excited with that. Trying to get better here with this StreamYard, this app too. I think I had a banner here. It was up here. Well, I guess you can't really see that, but it was on both sides. But then my questions were taking it over. So I probably should have done a little bit more work on this thing, but it's getting better. It's getting a little bit better. What do you guys think too, from a customer experience standpoint, how are you guys measuring, your reps? Like, how are you saying if a rep is quote unquote good or not? Are you just using QA? Are you using their metrics, like handle time? What is your biggest way to kind of reward and measure your reps that are rocking it. Hey, Mohammed, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well yourself. Good to have you on. Good to have you here. Anything else, guys? Anything that you've been thinking of? Any call center operations question that you're like, oh man, any issues that are happening in your center right now? Do you have a rep who's, causing you problems? Is there anything that you kind of, just have been kind of nagging at you, bugging you? More than happy to help, because we've all had those and have them going on currently, right? Kind of all together in that boat. I'm going to throw it up there. Apart from creating tons of content, do you have any advice for someone in the commercial side of the call center business? In other words, advice for somebody trying to find and sign new business clients? Well, I don't think you can say apart from creating tons of content, Gene, and it's not tons of content. You have to just create valuable content. It's fine to go to shows, but then who's going to know you? You're just going to be a sales guy walking up to someone. I just doing this. And again, I'm not saying I'm some guru, but just wanted to try to add as much value as I could to an industry that I saw really nobody was really helping. Everything was kind of sales, right? So I think in today's Web 2 world where we are, it's very difficult to just say, how do I go sell, right? Because selling is now building community. Selling is now building a personal brand, building your reputation as an organization. You guys know all about me. Most of you have literally read my book. So again, I'm not saying that you trust me because you don't really know me, but I think that there is a level of trust when it comes to certain topics that people then now come and ask me about. We have gotten a lot of business from the podcast, right? From people listening, agreeing with some of the things that we're saying. And I got a lot of people that disagree too. And then feel like they have a really good feel outside of me selling. Like I never sell, right? We have very rarely are we putting any content out there that even goes back to a landing page. Now I think there's one or two of them that are out there that we're testing. But again, our full marketing strategy, which has worked, is try to get people to come to you. And I know that sounds crazy, but we have moved now to, we post 5 to 6 different pieces of content on LinkedIn a day. We're trying to do 3 to 4 different TikTok videos a day. And the organic reach that we're finding on TikTok is crazy. And think about it, and you can say, well, my people aren't there. My industry isn't there. And you're right, they're not right now. But look at Facebook. Facebook started as the cool thing, and now it's the thing for our grandparents, right? Instagram started as this really cool thing that all the kids were using, and now you can't get any organic reach. All the brands are on it, and basically without paying a ton of money or having a huge audience, right? Which I didn't have because I didn't believe in it. You can't really post. You can't get any traction. TikTok is the next thing, right? Where right now you can post anything you want. Doesn't have to be funny. I'm not doing anything funny on it. Right? I'm doing like this, like these videos will be up on there. And we're getting traction because in 5 to 6 years, maybe 3 to 5 years, when the organic reach is gone, then we're going to have a community that we can still talk to that we're not going to have to pay. So I think that's it. Again, I know I'm rambling on that, but it's the number one way. We don't, I'm a call center. We don't cold call. We don't have a sales team. We have just a content team that's creating content. Hi, Mohammed. Can you please assist in regards to payments? As I was working with one of the most respected companies, but they're denying to pay us. Yeah, man, that's hard. Like that's probably even outside of my scope. The things that we do, I know from the offshore side with leads, with blind transfers. I mean, that's kind of the wild west. Very difficult to even manage. The thing is, that's really why we've never offshored, why I really don't offshore. It's why we don't do those type of programs. It's hard, right? It's hard. And when you find somebody that you can trust, like we used to do student loan consolidations back in my second life. And that was difficult to get paid on, right? So you got to just find the ones that you trust and you believe in, do very little bit of business with people that you're trying to kind of put your toe in. But it's really based on trust, especially offshore with contracts that you can have a contract, but how are you going to enforce it? So again, I'm probably the last person to talk about it because I know how difficult your job is from that type of contact center business. That's kind of why we're kind of USA customer service, paid by the hour. Everything is kind of signed but yeah, man, it's hard. And you don't want to bash somebody on social media. You can, but then how does that go with other clients that you may have? So it's tough. Again, I'm not giving you a great answer here because I don't really deal with it that much. Because we're not really in that world. So sorry, buddy. I'll say a prayer for you. I know that's the worst feeling in the world. I get mad when we're net 30 and maybe we have a client that goes net 45. Like that's kind of the issues with us, which I'm sure you would love at that point. But yeah, it can be difficult. Good stuff, guys. Right? This is getting kind of more fun. This is the second time we've done this now. Today's the first day. I think we just hit double digits, with the amount of people that were on for a second, or at least we're like in that 9, which, all I'm looking for is if I can help one person with something, and hopefully some of this is adding some value to you guys. Hopefully that can help. And again, as I already kind of said too, for those of you who weren't on earlier, James Dodkins, who's just an awesome keynote speaker, in the CX world, he's going to be coming on in June. Probably get some of you guys on here too. We're going to do some HR specific ones with some of my HR staff coming up. So we'll try to get things, have me just come on here for office hour too, but also have some specific ones based on maybe training and have one of our trainers on that you guys can ask those questions. Again, HR, have some of our supervisors on here and try to, again, add as much value as we can and make this a place where, I want to come every Friday from 1 to 2. All right. So, how do you help experienced leaders? How do we help experienced leadership concerned with agent performance to see the importance of shifting focus to customer experience? How do we help experienced leadership concerned with agent performance to see the importance of shifting focus to customer experience? Well, I'm not sure if those two are not one and the same, right? Because your agent performance is going to have a direct impact on your customer experience. Now, if you're talking customer experience as like the customer journey and they're focused just on your agents, that's when it becomes very difficult. We always see that, with organizations that maybe, finance is the leading kind of hammer of the call center, right? So they're just looking at the efficiency metrics. They don't really care about anything else, right? And we have to really explain to them that it's not just agent performance, but it's customer experience as well. Sometimes we'll see the marketing side, right? And they're worried more about maybe the sales or the experience that the customer is having, not so much on the KPIs. So they'll focus more on this and kind of let this go. And we have to talk to them about that too, right? So again, I think if you can show, if you have a good rep and you have a happy customer, right? That's kind of the end goal, right? And again, you got to have them both to have both of them, right? If that makes sense. So again, I think it's really difficult to just say we want our agents to perform better, but not worry about the customer experience, because the customer experience is now every touch point that you do with a customer, right? From the website to any type of interactions you have, from email to them going to the store and talking to a sales rep. That whole sales cycle and that service cycle, the call center is just one piece of it. So it's trying to get your leadership to understand that. A lot of times they don't want to take the blame for other things. The call center just gets beat up. You guys all know that, right? The ball, it always rolls downhill, and we're the last ones. We touch the customer, so it can't be them. It's got to be the call center. And again, that's probably why I like analytics as well, right? Because I can actually talk to a customer about things beyond, because sometimes it is the call center. Sometimes it is our reps, or it's their reps, or it's when we consult, there's just an issue in the contact center. But a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's kind of an umbrella of really everything. So being able to drill down to that, I think, will help a leadership team really understand the full impact of what they're doing to customers. And it's way beyond just having agent perform better. Now, let me just say this though too. Now, you can say that, but you still, your role as a call center manager is to get the agents to perform better, right? So I'm not saying we don't do that, because that's our role, that's our job. but just understand, right, when we explain what's going on, that there's a bigger picture to it as well. And that's why you can't beat your associates up all the time, right? You can't just say bad rep, right? Only when they are the bad rep, then you can kind of work through that. But a lot of times there's so many moving pieces to how the economy and how service works now, right? There's so many different touch points. It's not just a phone, it's email, it's chat, it's all these different ways that a customer can interact. And any breakdown in there is going to roll to you, right? So you have to make sure that you have the tools to be able to manage that. I hope that answers that question. Quickly too, between questions here, we are doing we're hoping to be a July drop. We're doing a 30 token NFT drop for access, I guess, to us and to me and to my team. It's totally free, right? So you still have to have a wallet. You have to have Ethereum to pay for the gas, which is probably 20 or 30 bucks. You'll get the token and things like, there's an emergency button, right? So if like something's going on and you don't have an answer, I will answer your call within 5 minutes. We'll try to work it through. Training sessions with your reps, right? On any topic that you want, contact center related, 15-minute one-on-ones with me. We can discuss anything from a roadmap for technology to things that are actually happening currently. Anything that you want from there. So there's a bunch of things that I think can add some value. We'll have token only AMAs with some really cool guests that are, again, keynote speakers to come on and kind of talk and hopefully add some value to you guys. That will just be for token holders. So there'll only be 30, right? And then there'll be an AMA with that. So probably 25 or 20 people come. It'll be just a 20-to-1 ratio with asking some really cool questions with some really, really cool people in the industry and CEOs of different organizations. So really excited for that. So start to think that through with your organization. Again, it's free. I'm not charging for it. The only reason I can do 30 is because I don't think I could do as many calls and as handle that with 50 people or 100. So we're gonna cap it at 30 and kind of see how that goes. And but yeah, really excited to do that and to I think hopefully pull you, whether it's kicking and screaming, into the Web3 world, and to have us really learn the smart contract, learn how to program it, learn how to do a drop, so that if we want to do something bigger later on in the year, which is the plan, to do something on the verge of 10,000 tokens with some utility that we're going back and forth on right now, but really excited for that. So again, think that through and just be kind of ready for that. Do some Googling if you want some help from me to kind of set up an Ethereum wallet, a MetaMask, or to buy $50 worth of Ethereum on Coinbase. I'm more than happy to help you with that as well. But I think it will be well worth it, even if you don't use it, to have in your back pocket in case you ever have a question or want anything answered and need it for that. And then we'll also do some of these, right, with just token holders as well. So again, excited about it. Should be something cool, something different. And I think, again, try to add value. Yeah. And hey guys, listen, I know that I'm getting a lot of, or some questions in here too on, how to get clients. Right. And again, I can't help you with that. I will tell you, you got to do the work to get the client. Right. I don't, I believe, you're Nick Juveline. I've never seen one piece of your content, right? Who has seen any of your content? How do I know what you can do? How does anybody know what you can do, right? If you are offshore now, I don't mean to be blunt, but nobody cares about your price, right? You guys all want to come at people with, it's cheaper. We all know it's cheaper. The problem is, how is your quality better, right? There's some really good offshores, right? Really good offshores, but how are you really good? And how do we know that? And how are you adding value to people? So again, I can't really help you because listen, I'm looking for clients. And again, we don't offshore, so I can't help you there. But yeah, I would, again, like Gino, and he believes in it now too, or not for me, but he believes in that you got to create content in today's market and get people to kind of see who you are. And then that's the only way to, your content is the porch to your business, right? It's the first thing that people are going to see, and they're not going to want to open that front door right? Unless they like that porch, they like what it looks like from the street. So again, I'm sorry, I can't really help with a lot of that stuff, especially, offshore, because to be honest, I'm not even an expert on that. So I will answer that. That's kind of a cool, I guess, how did I get started as a call center agency founder? So I grew up in a call center. Like, my family owned one. Like, when I was 9 years old, I was filling vending machines and, interacting with reps, and, there was no computers at the time. This is like 1985, 86. So I did that, right? And I got involved with it. And then I went to college, but I was always working in the contact center. We worked for very large organizations. We're a BPO in the early 2000s. Worked for bank. Probably, I don't know if I can say that, but a lot of banks, like top 10 largest banks in the United States, we were doing customer service for, and that was great. But then 2008, 2009, 2010 happened, and we got killed, right? Because that was the Great Recession, which turned into the Great Depression for us. Private equity guys kind of came in, said everything's going to stay the same. Bought the whole thing and basically fired all of us a couple months later. So I sat down, and we had a big lunch, and I said, "Who wants to come with us?" And most everybody said, "I'm out." A couple people said, "If you build it, we will come." So went out for about a year and a half and tried to raise money, and ended up raising $200,000 at the time, which I thought was a lot of money. And we started Expivia in about 2010, 2011. Started with 4 reps, and we've really just kind of grown from there. Had a lot of contacts in the industry that knew how the work that we did. So I probably had a little bit of an inside track once we got started, but it wasn't easy. It's very hard to start with when you don't have a really center to show people that there's 200 people in my center. No, there's 5, right? So why am I going to give you my 25? So listen, while I feel for you guys that are starting out or have a smaller center that you're trying to grow, it just takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you got to have the right people with you, right? It wasn't all me, not even close to me. I had really good people with me from our management, from our trainers, from our IT staff. They kind of put it together. I just kind of set the table, but they're the ones that had to go do it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And then, we've grown this thing to about 500-600 seats, and hopefully we can continue it. But interesting. Everybody's got an interesting road, though. I'm sure the stories that you guys have are pretty cool as well. We should do an episode just on that, like how you got involved in the industry.